Isn't it crazy that you use your hands to touch everything, but they can't touch themselves?
What? What the f?
Hello, you sassy salamanders. It's Brandon Camilo delivering your weekly dose of drawing goodness by way of the internet and your handheld device. I know that most of you watch my videos on your smartphone. Does anyone even still call them smartphones anymore? I think I should probably just say phone. I really fear that I'm starting to sound like a boomer. Regardless, phones require hands to operate, which is exactly what I'm drawing today. If anybody wants to take themselves seriously drawing anything with a semblance of realism, it is imperative that you learn to draw hands. Many young artists, myself included, avoided drawing hands by using one of these sneaky tactics. Number 1, putting them in pockets. Number 2, putting them behind the back. And number 3, putting them in gloves.
Guess and follow my pain instead! Dude, have you not realized that I'm secretly a Sonic fan this whole time?
That's okay.
What is wrong with you?
I'm a furry. It's fine.
Now, there's nothing wrong with doing this as you learn to draw because completing finished pieces and analyzing them in the future is important as well. But, much like going to the dentist or the DMV, for an artist, you eventually should tackle hands. There's more than a handful of videos out there dishing out tips and tricks as to how to draw hands. I've used quite a few myself in my journey to draw hands better, but as you can see in the drawing process, I kind of made my own hodgepodge mixture of shapes and anatomy to lay out the framework of a hand. I do also keep in mind the use of negative space in a hand to guide the proper replication of my reference photo. What I mean by that, for those that don't know, is that I focus on replicating the open air between the fingers more so than replicating the fingers themselves. This leads to a more accurate representation of your hand drawing. It's also important to keep in mind that when looking up reference photos for hands, you're going to get a whole bunch of weird postures and positions. What drawing these taught me, and what I want to tell you young fledgling artists out there, is that it's okay if your hand looks whack. Some of these hands won't really look like what you picture in your mind as you draw it, but stick with it. Getting through the ugly phase reinforces you as an artist. Besides, this is practice anyways, right? So let the mess ups happen and analyze later. Don't erase and restart just because it's not perfect. Making progress is uncomfortable, but this is why we need practice.
Practice? We're talking about practice, man.
Dude, getting good at hands opens up a whole new realm to your art skills because now you can show subjects in action. You can draw people holding items or draw humans interacting with each other, or just draw some ninjas doing some crazy jutsus. But really, as physical as hands may seem, they really help in portraying emotion in your pieces, be it sadness or elation or frustration. It brings things to the next level compared to just a portrait. Not knocking portrait artists or anything, I'm just saying hands help, well, lend a helping hand. I really have to stop it with these dad jokes. Trust me, it's pretty cool when you get good at it. In my process, I map out the hand softly, and then come in with a darker hue to lay out the detail lines. One thing that I want to mention is that I don't completely trace over my mapping of the hand, but rather just use it as a guide to see what goes where. It's okay to deviate from what you've laid out in the pre-drawing because it's just that, a pre-drawing. If it was completely fine on the first go, it wouldn't be called a pre-drawing, but rather a finished piece. And boy, oh boy, do I aspire to get to that level. Can you imagine just being able to lay out hands like it's nobody's business? That would be so cool. Well, at least for us artists. Now, I made the dumb mistake of not recording the third hand in this practice sheet, which you will see later, because I got distracted while drawing at the coffee shop, but it's all good, peeps. I know I didn't give many helpful hints as to how to draw hands, but I hope this video did inspire any artists out there to continue pushing forward with their hand drawings. Like I've said before, I am by no means a teacher, but the internet is a magical place, and not only can you see some of the most horrible things known to mankind, but you can also go look at as many hand tutorials as your heart desires. I should have said as many tutorials as your hands can hold. Anyways, here's the finished piece. Make sure to wash your hands regularly. Bye.